All right, welcome back. Yeah, I told you it's still the program Inside Motherhood on Spectrum Television. And like I promised, our guest is here already and is going to talk to you about the part I didn't talk to you about. So let's immediately welcome Queen Esther. Welcome. You look like a queen already.
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
so Queen Esther is a business development manager at OT's Keepers. Of course, that is a sport where you can easily walk in and go back home with a qualified nanny. Mm. All right, so a quick one. Let's just get to the part I didn't touch. Okay, I understand that, of course, your company makes it easy for someone to get a nanny.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, but as much as I don't want to dwell on that, let's talk about the nanny part. Okay, are those things you need to take? Are there anything that you need to take into consideration before hiring a nanny?
All right. Thank you very much. Um, the way the world is today, one has to be very careful with the way they go about sourcing, you know,
Mm,
for their nannies, because nannies form an integral part of the family. In as much as we have those who live in and we have live out nannies, but they play a range of roles that you know um, involve them taking part in very even private matters of the family. We leave our children in their care while we are
that's a
very
very
busy
delicate
at
case.
work. You're not there, you don't know what's
Mm.
going on, even though today a lot of persons have cameras, CCTV in their homes while they monitor from their offices or wherever they are. But then you get
That doesn't change
it doesn't
anything.
change anything, yeah. So for people who might want to source for nanny, it is very important that they take the following into consideration. You could go through an agency
Okay.
like ours, and if you go through an agency, you are sure that a lot of things will be checked. You are sure that to a large extent you are safe. Some persons prefer to go through, word of mouth. Some of them run back to their hometowns and
Mm.
then tell people, I just need a young person to stay with me or my child. And at the end of the day, a lot of sorry stories afterwards. But going through an agency like ours has its upsides. Yes, and about 99.9% advantage,
Okay.
going through an agency, because the agency takes it upon itself to conduct background checks, police checks. We run verifications.
Mm.
We run health checks. We run like serology tests for the female staff, pregnancy
Mm.
tests, and hepatitis, and all of those, just to be sure that the staff that is being deployed to your home is clean health wise, is certified fit,
Mm.
and has no criminal record. Because we have seen a lot happening in several parts of the world where nannies go into homes and perpetrate all manner of evil or violence or
Yeah.
abuse, either sexual abuse or verbal abuse or domestic abuse, as it may be. So these are things to look out for. You
Mm.
want to look at those people who you're not targeting the high class. If you need a nanny in your home, you look at the low class. Yes, people from the lower rung of the society.
Away from that, talking about, nannies in the house, okay? Um, kids, handing your kids over to your nanny is a very delicate case. For
Right,
example, it can either make or mar your children. Whatever your
right.
nanny says, he or she could pretend when they see you. Whatever your
Mm-hmm.
nanny says, whatever your nanny does, be careful. You're going to see those signs in your child.
Yeah,
Your
that's
child is going
right.
to start doing that. And when you ask, who did that? Oh, auntie this or uncle that did it. I learned from there. Playing music that you don't play for your kids, saying things your kids you don't say to them. And then talking about health check. Yeah, sometime 3 years ago, I asked someone for a nanny. Okay, someone said, "Oh, I have this child and I know it's going to be cool for you." She was 21, and then I went, I saw her, I carried her. She was willing to stay. I met her father, and then her father said I can go with her, and asked, what about her mother? They said, oh, she's no longer staying with the father. I said, no, I insisted on seeing the mother. So when I met the mother, you know, I knew the other side. The father never told me. Oh, this child is not a good child. This child has had a child before. You know, this child is this. So I said, okay, now someone can actually live with another person, and then, you know, things change.
That's right.
So I was willing to take the child along with me. Yeah, she wasn't a child at then. She was an adult. So on getting to the house, I took her on the 26th day of December. She stayed with me on the 27th, 28th, 29. I was busy with work. So on the 30th day, I had to take her for health checks. It was important. I did that. And then when I got to the first place, I didn't believe. Okay, so the pharmacist came out and was like, oh, it was a lab attendant. Okay, so you need to pay another so amount of money so we could
confirmatory
yeah,
tests.
confirmatory. So I said, what are you talking about? So at that point, I don't know, maybe his manner of approach wasn't cool. So I left there. I took the result. I left there. I went to another pharmacy, went to their lab, and I tested. And I noticed it took so long. So I had to, what is happening? So the lady called. Oh, do you know her? I said, yes, she's my girl. So how long has she stayed with you? I said, 3 days. So you need to take her back to the parent. This HIV has passed stage 1, is now in stage 2. So, oh my God. So you see, at that point, if I never took that into consideration, and then there is no how you tell her, oh, when you're cutting the kids' nails, don't use the same to cut your nails. Sometimes you would maybe just forget or be careless about that.
Right.
And then a whole lot of things. So, you know, that taught me, that was the first time, and it taught me a big lesson. And then the second time, I picked someone, I carried someone else, and then she came in and she was looking all glowing, and then, you know, some developments, and I said, how old did you say you are again? Are you supposed to be this developed, you know, looking all glowing? I said,
Sure.
are you bleaching? She said, no. I said, so what do you rub? She said, anything. So I had to get a particular baby cream for her that I know normalizes, neutralizes the skin. So she rubbed, and she was just glowing. And then I kept monitoring. At the second week of that month, I brought her. I said, I haven't heard you talk about your period. Isn't it yet time? Oh, she said, I haven't seen it before. And then at that point, I told myself, wow, is it even possible for her not to see her period at this age? So when I kept on monitoring and asking, she would be tired. And then I told my husband, if this is pregnancy, then I would understand how she feels. So I would wake up and prepare the kids for school, and she's still sleeping. And then, because of how I was with her, the third week of her staying with me, she walked up to me and she said, she's sorry she lied. She hasn't actually seen her period for 3 months now. Wow.
Wow.
So, you know, at that point, I didn't run that test, yes. But away from HIV, it was pregnancy. So a whole lot of things happen. So, okay, those are just the areas you've mentioned, the things we need to take into consideration.
It's very important.
Okay, because of our time, let's just quickly say a little thing. Okay, I think we'll just borrow some time on that so we can talk proper.
Okay.
Now, is there any other thing we need to take into consideration away from those ones you've mentioned?
Okay. Well, you want to be sure while sourcing these domestic staff, the nannies, that you go through the proper route.
Okay.
Yes, because we have bodies that supervise or regulate all of these agencies, like the Human Rights Commission. Now, a lot of companies come in under the guise of, you know, sourcing domestic staff from, you know, the less privileged communities, and traffic them.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So because there has been, you know, there have been several, you know, such issues. All right. So one shouldn't take chances. Whatever it is that you are doing, you want to be sure that you are going through the right route. either through certified agents or registered agents, or through certified and registered companies that are regulated and monitored by the Human Rights Commission, Federal Ministry of Labor, and you do not want to engage somebody who is underaged in your home because that is child abuse and it is against the labor laws. So those are things one should look out for.
Okay. All right, now let's get to housekeeping. Before you started talking, I already shared a little of those things that I feel nannies shouldn't be allowed to do in the house, or even if they are allowed to do, it should be supervised by the ones that own the houses. Okay, so what are those other areas we talked about? Of course, a little bit of cooking, your private room, your undies, private stuffs like that. So let's just say from your own part.
Okay. For nannies, we have different kinds of nannies, like I said earlier, and their job description varies largely from home to home.
Yeah.
There are some that tell you just come and take care of this newborn baby because the mom is a career woman and may not be available to nurse the baby, at that infant stage. So they need a mature person to stay with the baby who knows what exactly to do, or however it turns out with the baby. So you have a nanny for that category. You have a nanny for even grown kids. I used to have some students in secondary school, who had nannies. And then when they come to me and tell me, oh, my nanny is here, wants to see, I'm like, you still have a nanny, right? No, that's just kidding them, right? So for parents who still are busy, they have these nannies, cook for the children. They also do school runs.
Wow.
Where the parents are not available. They must be in company of the driver, right? While dropping the kids off at school and during pickup, right? Because I have found that the elites of the society, they are not comfortable allowing their kids, go with the driver or return from school with the driver alone, unaccompanied by another adult within the family. Okay, so these nannies also play such roles in such homes. So away from nursing them, making sure that they have their meals when they should, and that some of them even assist with homework. For the ones who are educated, yes, they assist with homework and other things. They even help with morals. Yes, we have...
I think that's very important.
Very important.
Like I said before, we talked about it. I've seen a home where, a child sang a song, and then I asked that child, why would you sing such a song? And then he mentioned the nanny's name. My nanny sang it for me. So at that point, I had to call the nanny. I said, listen, you don't have to sing these songs for these kids. Yeah, the nanny was ready to learn. Now, it took a whole lot of time for her to start letting go of those kind of songs and those kind of words, because you notice that the kids say it back to her, and she will say, why are you insulting me? And I will tell her, this is a thing that you taught these children how to say. So I think sometimes, since it's in the neighborhood, my kids will run down and say, oh, mommy, did you hear what this child said to this child? How could this child say such a thing? So sometimes they will hide in the window and say, my mommy will beat you. How could you say that? Don't say that. So, and then most of those things is because the parents are too busy to watch the nanny, and the nanny is teaching them the morale she knows.
Yeah, you see, for busy parents, I am of the school of thought that no parent should be too busy for their children. Because before you know it, they're all grown up and they're out of the house. So if you miss that phase, that childhood stage of bonding and inculcating morals, sound morals and discipline, you have missed it.
Of course.
Because even the nanny could be morally bankrupt to some extent. So it's important that you create time for your children. I do that.
Talking about nannies, like maybe not the elderly ones, they are also growing. And then they need to learn morals too. So how much do they have to inculcate into your child?
All right. So these, these also leads us back to the question you asked initially about going about sourcing nannies, the right nannies for your home. There is what we do called interviews. Okay, so you want to check with the nanny to be sure. Of course, you cannot assess everything the nanny knows,
in a day.
in a day. Yes, they unveil with time.
Of course,
But
every
if
human
you
being
ask the right
unveils.
questions, you will get the right responses that help you know if this
That'll help you
person.
predict the future.
Exactly. And then there are red flags as well. At
Yeah.
that point, there are red flags. Okay, so for example, in your case where you had to meet the mom and she told you something contrary to what the dad, that was a red flag already. Yeah. Okay, so you want to ask those questions to be sure that this person, you would see the signs. For the ones who are spoiled already, the signs are there. For the ones who are exposed already, the signs are there. For the ones who are naive and teachable, the signs are there. So when they come into your house, it is very important that you school them. Okay, let them understand the operations or how your home is run. Yes, let them understand your schedule. You could help them go a step further by creating a schedule for them. Yes, at this time you should be doing this, at that time you should be doing this. Some persons are professional nannies, so they understand whatever situation, wherever it is they find themselves, they fit in perfectly. Some of them are obviously, neonates in this business, so they just come in and then they do it by guess. They just guess, okay, you should give the child a shower at this time, you should give the child breakfast or lunch at this time, you should give the child, if the child is on medication, at this time. So they understand all those, but they cannot do beyond. They may not be able to think beyond, outside the box. For example, I can bring as an illustration the nanny and the unfortunate incidents at the home of Davido and Chioma with their baby. So at the end of the day, it was summarized to be negligence.
So you see, that's where I said, even if you have CCTV cameras, what's the point? So I've heard stories where there are CCTV cameras in the house and the nanny is ready for anything that wants to happen, because at that time, maybe he or she knows this is where you take them to, this is where you take them, they're ready for it. Well, you've lost a child already, or you've lost something vital to you.
Right. So at the end of the day, it was a case of negligence. It was a case of this against that. But then the boy is gone. The child is gone. He's gone. So that's why it's very important for one to dot their I's and cross their T's. And sometimes women have what is called the sixth sense. Okay, if something doesn't just sit well with you, I think you should put it on a hold for a while. Yes, while you are conducting your background checks, meeting with the families to be sure, getting guarantors and people to endorse and take responsibility for whatever thing this person does. Maybe the person absconds or steals or something. Yeah, there should be people to take responsibility for unpalatable actions on the part of this stuff. So it is important that you take you dot your I's and then you cross your T's, so that you are not taken unawares. Where something in the process doesn't sit well with you, it is important that you slow down a bit. Eventually you will find that I've seen instances where people go for nannies and at the end of the day they've done everything. They tell you, well, she looks okay, well, she fits into the profile, but there's just something. I can't place my fingers, but there's just I'm not just okay, just give me time. Let me go think about it. If I still want to go ahead with her, I'll call you. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much. If you look at our time, we've already borrowed 2 minutes into the show. Okay, so let's just use this last moment to just round up. If you are in a position, of course, to advise someone, being that you are in an agency that does that already, what would you say? What would you advise someone who is opting for a nanny, going for a nanny? Just, general advice.
So if you would be opting for a nanny, I would advise that you use a credible agency. Go through a credible agency. It saves you a lot of problem. Why some persons don't like coming to agencies is because they tell you, oh, the cost, I have to pay this, I have to pay for that. But then if you would have to pay for that to have your peace and have the right person in your home, which would you prefer? Is it going cutting corners, all right, or doing the right thing? If you cut corners at the end of the day, the result you get is you get more than what you bargained for at the end of the day, which is unpalatable. But then if you go through an agency like us that is reputable, we work with the Human Rights Commission, NAPTIP, and all of those. At the end of the day, we give you persons who fits well into your profile and serve you. I think it's the best.
Okay.
So they should look out for credible agencies, to source their nannies from. Right.
All right, thank you so much, Queen Esther, a development manager from OT's Keepers, a company that, of course, an agency that, would I say, you can actually get a credible nanny from. Okay, so I wish we started this earlier, would talk a whole lot, but I know there's a day, special day that is set aside to celebrate nannies in the world.
Yeah, there is the National Nanny Recognition Week,
okay,
which comes up some time later in the year, around the second week of September.
Okay,
yes.
When we get to that point, of course, that's
right.
when we're going to talk about what you should do to your nanny and what you shouldn't do to your nanny.
Oh my God, there's so much to be done, right? And we are putting plans together for that. We have already started plans already on that. Yeah.
All right. Okay, thank you so much, and thank you to all our viewers who are in their houses, in their offices, watching us. And of course, I hope you learned something about nannies. And of course, if you are opting for one, you know what you should allow that nanny do and what you shouldn't allow that nanny do, and how you should go about getting your nanny, the things you should put into consideration before getting a nanny. They are very, very important. Thank you so much, Queen Esther, for coming through.
Thank you, Rachel, for having me.
All right, we'll hope to have you again next time. Thank you back to the people once again. Thank you so much for staying glued to your TV set to watch this program. It comes your way again next Saturday. Meanwhile, thank you so much once again. I feel like telling you thank you 100 times because you have done great for giving us a listening ear. Don't forget to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. Of course, you can get this program there so you can remind yourself of the things you need to know about nannies if you forget. My name is Rachel David White. Good afternoon.